You were one of more than a dozen House Dems that signed a letter to the DNC on Friday urging it to endorse more crypto-friendly policies and actions. Among them, the letter called for the inclusion of pro-digital asset language in its platform and the appointment of a pro-innovation regulator to take the helm at the SEC. So what now?
Well, I mean, we've got a whole new reset on the race for president. So this is an exciting time to talk about the future of digital innovation in the U.S. And a fresh new perspective is emerging in the Democratic Party. We've been working really hard to make sure that we keep the future of Web3 as a bipartisan issue. Whether you love crypto or you hate it, it's not going anywhere. So we need to continue making the case to protect consumers, bolster U.S. competitiveness, and certainly to foster innovation here in the U.S. Those are the things that we're working on in Congress right now. We just passed, for the first time ever in our nation's history, a bipartisan bill to regulate crypto. Fit 21 passed with 71 Democrats. That was a big deal for this Congress. We've only done bipartisan things in Congress for must pass legislation. So this was the first piece of policy that wasn't must pass that we got done. And I'm proud of the great coalition that we built, and continuing to push in Nashville and everywhere else to make the good public policy case for why we need to regulate this technology and keep those jobs here in the U.S.
Also, over the weekend, reports circulating about Kamala Harris's advisors reaching out to members of the crypto community. And of course, some are really hoping that they can take that as a positive signal, and many others are more skeptical. When I talk to people, or when I log on to crypto Twitter, I'm seeing a lot of messaging around this idea that actions speak louder than words, and that some in crypto have been burned way too many times by this administration to sort of allow themselves to have that hope and that belief that there could be a sentiment shift coming, from Harris or from the Democrats or from the current Biden administration. What do you say to that? She's just launched this campaign for president, and what do you think she should do? Or, if it is the position that she's taking, what do you think it is that she should do or say? And what is really the reality of that, given everything that she has going on at the moment?
Well, I drafted this letter to Vice President Harris and the DNC talking about the things that I think she ought to do. We've got 14 House Democrats who joined me, along with some other elected and Democratic leaders across the country. So I think our letter outlined some of the specific stuff. But you're right. We need to show actions certainly speak louder than words. The fact that she's got this meeting coming up with her folks and the industry and other leaders in the space, I think is really important. That's something that as far as I'm aware hasn't really happened under the current administration. But she's running for president in her own right now, and on a lot of these issues we get to take a reset. And my hope is that the good public policy arguments we've laid out will hit home with Vice President Harris, and we can see a new, fresh approach, embracing bipartisanship on this issue, and that's I think for me the future of any issue. If you do it as you turn these things into partisan political footballs, you're going to set the cause back a decade. But if we continue to focus on keeping innovation here in the U.S., making sure those jobs stay here, that we can protect our consumers with good regulation. And again, we're just trying to get regulation for the industry where we've never had anything in our nation's history until this Congress finally put Fit 21 on the floor for a vote. So it's a new area, it's a new space, but it's one that has amazing potential to democratize finance, to turn dictatorships into democracies. And if we embrace this technology and get it right, we're going to be able to help all the folks we represent in a very major way.
What do you make of the crypto voter? We hear things like the Bitcoin president or the crypto election, and it obviously is a growing topic of interest in this election. I don't know if you can quantify it, but how significant to you do you see this base of crypto?
I think it's a very significant group of Americans, And from what I understand, and my own personal experience is a very bipartisan group. It's evenly split between Democrats and Republicans and independents. It's why I went to Nashville to make the case for the work that Democrats are doing in this space in Congress. There are many other voices other than Gary Gensler on this issue, and wanted to make that very clear with the letter that I authored and led, as well as the work that we've done in Congress. Including folks like Speaker Pelosi on Fit 21, great leadership from Chuck Schumer in the Senate. So. That's I think important, and by all accounts, I think you're looking at 20% of registered voters who own crypto. That's a huge segment of the electorate, and anyone running for president needs to talk to them about these issues and let them know where they stand. And in fairness to Vice President Harris, it's been a very busy last week, so she's had a lot on her plate. But it's an issue that I'm very hopeful that we'll continue to keep in that bipartisan space.
You are in your first term in a purple state, and I guess I'm wondering if you've engaged with your own constituents on this topic and what they're thinking about it, and if you found your pro-crypto position to be useful to your political fortunes as a representative of North Carolina.
I mean, my constituents sent me here to get things done. I flipped one of just 6 Republican seats in the last election, perfect 50-50 district. And the folks that sent me to Washington wanted me to go here to work across the aisle to get things done. And in this Congress, we are on track to be one of the least productive Congresses in our nation's history. We've been able to do things in a bipartisan way when there must pass legislation. So that's debt ceiling, budget, standing with our allies and friends in Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan. We were able to do those things together in Congress. This is the first thing that we've done in the House that is significant major legislation in a bipartisan way. So I've been working hard for the last year and a half to move this bill along. And, I was one of 3 House Democrats to co-sponsored the bill at the outset, one of 6 to vote for it in committee, and then one of 71 to vote for it on the House floor, including folks like, Speaker Nancy Pelosi, um, our number 2 in the House, Catherine Clark, our number 3 Democrat in the House, Pete Aguilar, number 4, Democrat in the House, Ted Lieu. So we've got a great, group of folks from all parts of the party who are supporting a good bipartisan push on this issue. And that's really for me been the focus: is what can I get done in this Congress? I hoped that immigration reform was going to be part of that list, but President Trump realized that the politics of that were better for him to have pain and suffering and to do nothing. So he killed our bipartisan work on that issue. But we still have more time to legislate in this Congress. Even if we can't get things done when we come back in September, we're going to have a lame duck session where I'm hopeful that the work we've done in this Congress can make it to the end zone here before or after the election.
I do want to go back to the growing bipartisan support of crypto that we've talked about throughout this conversation. What's next in terms of legislation? What are key developments that you are watching? Are there specific bills that our audience should be watching? And given that it is an election year, when can we realistically see something passed?
Well, I think the good news is a fresh new perspective is emerging within the Democratic Party. And we're seeing good bipartisan support on important public policy wins. So in this Congress, I'm very hopeful that we're going to get stablecoin legislation done. That's a place where we've got very good bipartisan support. Maxine Waters, the ranking member of the House Financial Services Committee, is very close to getting that passed. I think safe banking is part of that conversation. I think one way or another, we will fix SAB 121 to allow custodial banking for the ETFs for Bitcoin and Ether and other digital assets. Our most well-regulated banks in the world should be able to take custody of those assets. That's one that I'm feeling very optimistic about. And then Fit 21, the bipartisan bill to regulate crypto. Those are the 4 big things to watch, and I'm very hopeful that we'll be able to get most, if not all, of them done. Maybe as part of a bigger package before or after the election, but we've got time when we're in Congress to get these things done in September and then again in November and December of this year. So, for someone like me, I'm going to keep fighting and pushing through the last day of Congress to get as much as we can done that'll help the people that I represent in Congress.
All right. And then, final thing, I promise. I just want to ask, when did you become a proponent of cryptocurrency, and what drove that interest for you?
For me, it's about democratizing finance. The technology is absolutely amazing. It has the opportunity for us to go around the world and turn dictatorships into democracies, to make transaction costs much cheaper for the people I represent. Uh, you know, Average Americans spend so much of their money moving money around. This allows us to totally transform the way that we conduct business in the U.S. and around the world. So that the potential helps so many people here, and if we get it right, we're going to have a well-regulated industry where we can protect consumers, and it's a place where I think if you look back on this interview in 10 years and you're going to be looking at the people who are against Web3, it's going to be the same. It's going to be like saying you were against the internet in the 90s. So I think the future is very bright, and you're seeing folks, certainly within the Democratic Party, really embracing this issue in a positive way, and that's the thing that I've been focusing on is making sure that again we keep this in a bipartisan space in the U.S. Congress.